This is a video series on artificial intelligence in business. This video is about business and social risks of artificial intelligence. I am İbrahim Kuşçu, the CEO of the Next Minds. Long time ago in today's Anatolia in Turkey, there was this knife maker. He was making beautiful handmade knives. These beautiful knives were made to help people, say in the kitchen or in the outdoors, or as a souvenir. One night, when the knife maker was returning home, suddenly a young man appears in front of him asking for his money. The young man has a knife in his hand, and the knife maker, when he sees this shining knife, he recognizes the knife and he says, "I made that knife to help people to use in the kitchen or in the outdoors to cut small pieces of wood. Now you are threatening me with the knife that I made myself." And then they start a conversation. All the tools and technologies developed by human beings have always been for the purpose of supporting our life or helping us to create civilizations and helping us to create a social culture. Important technologies survived with us because they were always in aid of us. However, the recent changes in technology, especially in information technology, is mind-blowing. It is so fast and in many varieties. At the moment, with this exponential growth in IT, we are seeing that technology is moving from being an aid to the human being, it is taking a leading role. And most of us are being severely influenced by the impositions of technology. How many of you do check their emails as a first thing in the morning? How do you feel when you are away from your mobile phone? How many phone numbers do you have in your memory or written on a piece of paper? There are many other evidences, not only in our personal life, but also in our business life. Most of the organizations now direct us to the chatbots instead of talking to someone in the customer services. We are directed and guided by the recommender systems when we are surfing or exploring a website of a business. This is influencing our purchasing decisions. This is very similar to what's happening in artificial intelligence. Now, artificial intelligence is in our life and it is influencing every sector of the businesses. Starting from your voice assistant on your mobile phone, most of the applications are supported by artificial intelligence systems. Even though you are not using any of those intelligent wearable devices such as the watch or such as intelligent glasses, you are already connected to the artificial intelligence through your mobile phones. In this video series, we have covered many examples of artificial intelligence applications in business, from conventional recommender systems to chatbots to Industry 4.0 and intelligent robot-based manufacturing systems. It is very clear that artificial intelligence is influencing our personal life and also all sectors of business life. Can you think of any business or any sector that artificial intelligence may not be used or relevant? I have seen videos of barber robots. They are cutting your hair. Can you think of any business sector that artificial intelligence will be irrelevant and maybe excluded? When we were talking about all these artificial intelligence systems, we were talking about all positive examples and in a positive way, how they support our life or how they support and solve business problems. However, it is very important to study the risks of artificial intelligence so that we can build safe artificial intelligence and responsible artificial intelligence systems. So, we aim to study artificial intelligence risks, not to be scared of artificial intelligence, but to take precautions and also do safety work. This is very similar to an engineer who is building a bridge. This engineer should take all the precautions so that this bridge is strong and can live many years and can support all the vehicles going through it. So the idea about studying artificial intelligence risks is the same. The more we know about artificial intelligence risks, the better artificial intelligence systems we can build. Especially for studying social risks of artificial intelligence is very important. The more we know about them, the more responsible AI systems we can build so that the technology will take its place to aid human beings. In this video, we will show that due to the nature of the artificial intelligence systems, the special characteristics that AI technologies have, and also due to the speed of progress in artificial intelligence, the artificial intelligence systems are mostly potentially risky. It is important for the AI experts like us to know about this so that we can create artificial intelligence systems to serve the human beings. It is also important for the regulatory bodies to know about this so that they can prepare the appropriate grounds for the artificial intelligence systems to flourish in a way that is good for the humanity. As we will elaborate in more detail just in a while, regulatory bodies or other organizations responsible for AI development are slow and inefficient. The speed of change in artificial intelligence world is very fast to keep up, and also all these bodies responsible for AI are not really having the required number and the level of skills that is required to monitor and also regulate artificial intelligence developments. Before going into the details of systematic risks of artificial intelligence system development, let's look at some of the generic risks that exist around artificial intelligence. Perhaps an important source of making artificial intelligence risky, especially for businesses, is that we think that artificial intelligence will be solving all kinds of problems. But in fact, as we discussed in other videos, artificial intelligence, today's successful examples of artificial intelligence are narrow intelligence. They are domain specific. As they are domain specific, they are very, very good in solving one business problem, that we know boundaries, that we have a good information about this problem domain and we know the limits. So these domain-specific successes and abilities of artificial intelligence system should not be confused as if it is a general-purpose problem-solving tool. Artificial intelligence systems in their businesses, they should know what is the requirement for their businesses and what is the level of artificial intelligence commitment they should be doing. The businesses should be very careful about not to be led by the hype created about the successes of the narrow artificial intelligence. This issue is directly related to the two kinds of business risks: reputation risks and integration risks. Integration risks happens when businesses are not really ready to adopt artificial intelligence systems as a solution for their business problems. Having AI systems in your businesses requires that you know and you are very clear about the scope, degree and level of AI involvement. And once you have made that decision, you have also prepared your resources in terms of IT infrastructure and also skilled labor. For example, businesses must decide what problem they want to solve through AI systems. Is it going to be just a recommender systems that they are going to be used on their website? Or is it going to be a chatbot which will help in customer services? Whatever the domain you will be using artificial intelligence systems in your business, you need to make a preparation. For example, AI systems are data hungry. Have you already made preparation to collect and to clean and to prepare your data for the system that you are developing? Do you have sufficient resources to build recommender systems in-house, or are you going to outsource it and use some of the cloud services? These are really important questions to answer in order to avoid integration risks. Integration risks are also relevant to the general strategy, the goals, and even the culture of your organization. Your intention to use artificial intelligence systems in your business must fit well with all of those. Still being relevant to all of these discussions, reputation risk is also very important. Businesses must be very careful for not creating over expectation through the promotion of artificial intelligence systems that they will be using in their services or in their product development. Making high promises and not fulfilling them might influence the long-term reputation of any businesses. It is now widely accepted that there are shortage of skilled AI experts. The speed and sophistication level of artificial intelligence developments required a big demand for the skilled AI workers and also for the data scientists. Although many universities and other educational organizations are focusing on artificial intelligence, the skills required to meet the demand is still very low. Finally, in general, the businesses should be careful about the cost of artificial intelligence systems. These costs of artificial intelligence are two. One of them is a setup cost, the other one is a running cost. It is important for the businesses to make decisions that their return on investment on this cost will be substantial and also satisfactory for the business as a whole. Setup costs are related to whether producing these AI systems in-house or outsourcing it to the cloud services. Running AI systems can be a little bit tricky because they are not set up once and run forever kind of systems. When there is a slight change in the problem domain, there might be a need for retraining artificial intelligence systems. These retraining costs can be relevant to the resources that needs to be used in data gathering, identifying new forms and sources of data, and times and effort needed for retraining the actual artificial intelligence systems. This may be, in some cases, require days and weeks and maybe sometimes months, depending on how data hungry your system is and how sophisticated your artificial intelligence system is. Just in a moment, we will be talking about risk components of artificial intelligence in order to help professionals to produce safe AI. The purpose of working with safe AI is to empower the AI industry, whether they are producing artificial intelligence systems or artificial intelligence products. In this video, when we talk about AI systems, what we are referring to is software systems that are intelligent. This could be a web chat or a face recognition system. When we say AI products, what we are referring to is some AI systems which has certain form of body, either a robot or an intelligent machine. A home cleaning robot is an AI product, and similarly, a robot working in the manufacturing processes and a robot operating on the machines are also an AI product. AI software systems and AI products are two broad categories that are being produced through the AI industry. Whether it is an intelligent software or an intelligent product, the following risks are associated with all artificial intelligence systems. Related to AI development, we can talk about two important kinds of risks: data risks and software risks. But relevant to this is a regulatory risk, which is an envelope around the AI systems. And then we have consequential risks, and also we should talk about unknown risks. Governments and international bodies are making a lot of effort to regulate many industries, especially those which are hazardous, for example, chemicals. As artificial intelligence becomes so prevalent and also so important and significant in our lives in terms of business and social, regulatory authorities must be spending a lot of effort to regulate AI industry as well. As we mentioned at the beginning of this video, regulatory authorities by their very nature are very slow, and also they are very late because the progress in artificial intelligence is mind-blowing. And also regulatory authorities lack the sufficient expertise to be able to regulate an industry with specific technicalities and also complicated systems. Despite all of these though, artificial intelligence is very, very important now and also in the future. So therefore, governments and also global organizations must come together to monitor and follow the potential risks that might happen to harm the human beings and our future. Sometimes, the responsible organization takes steps in terms of regulations and help regulatory bodies. For example, during the Black Lives Matter unrest, Amazon and IBM and similar companies have stopped using their face recognition systems by the police force and the other security forces. They demanded a regulation before they launch their systems because they would like to know how fair these face recognition systems are being used by the authorities. Two of the risks are directly related to the artificial intelligence systems themselves. These are data risks and also software risks. Data risks refer to the use of biased, incomplete, insufficient, and also completely wrong data in the artificial intelligence systems. Data is one of the most important determinants of how good, how well your AI systems will perform. So therefore, data science and data analytics is very, very important for artificial intelligence. They make sure that AI models has appropriate data input to the system. Just to give an example, as we know, most of the artificial intelligence systems are developed in the Western world, and that influences what kind of data are being used by these systems. In order to do this, just do a test on the Google. Just write the word eye or the word hand, and then press the images. When you look at those images, you will see that they are more representative of certain geographical portion of the world than the other. For example, you will see a lot of green eyes, and these green eyes are only 2% of the population of the world, but the proportion of the images of green eye will be much higher. So in this case, it's very clear that the search algorithm used by the Google has a certain bias. As we have just mentioned, IBM, Amazon and Microsoft has stopped their use of face recognition systems in the Black Lives Matter unrest. In addition to lack of regularities, one other reason for these systems being stopped is that these systems are not very good in identifying colored people faces. Of course, as usual, data risks are directly related to issues about privacy and trust. The businesses collect our data. We often trust them and give them our data in return for certain conveniences. We are not very sure often how these data are being used, whether they are being used in the way we would like them to be or for other purposes. For example, Cambridge Analytica is an important case where the collected information are being used to influence the decision of the voting people in the United States. We've just given a few examples of data risks, but as long as artificial intelligence systems are data hungry and they depend on data in terms of their performances, the data risks will always be something of great concern by the artificial intelligence experts. Another important risk that is directly related to the work on the artificial intelligence software and artificial intelligence modeling is software risks. Software risks lead us to important concerns in artificial intelligence. One of them is explainable AI and the other one is responsible AI. By their very nature, artificial intelligence tools and techniques are not properly explainable. That is to say, we don't know clearly how they come up with certain actions or certain decisions. They are very sophisticated and complex structures and processes that even a high-level expert in artificial intelligence may not be able to explain how a neural network or how a genetic algorithm comes up with a decision or an action. In the responsible AI systems work, artificial intelligence experts make every effort to make sure that, for example, an artificial intelligence system doesn't harm a person or a human being or doesn't harm its environment. Also, it is important to make sure that artificial intelligence systems are ethically acceptable through their actions or recommendations that they make. As human beings are an integral part of this development of artificial intelligence systems, it is likely that a programmer's bias or their ethical preferences might get involved in the whole process. Who will decide how responsible an AI system will be, how ethical an AI system will be? For example, if this is a self-driving car, is it the insurance company who will decide? Is it the producers? Or is it the developers, the programmers of AI systems? Who is going to decide how responsible an AI system will be? Would you consider buying a self-driving car which has a priority of protecting the person or passengers in the car rather than any other persons around, an old lady or a baby, or even harming the environment? Your insurance company might force you to do so. So the consumers or the buyers of AI systems are also responsible as much as the responsibility of the producers of artificial intelligence systems. An Israeli company is being criticized because they are using pictures of known criminal faces in order to predict potential terrorists, say, in the airports and in public places. Do you think past criminal faces are predictive of who would be the potential criminal? It looks like such systems will be producing a lot of false positives. That is, they are very likely to decide someone criminal even though they are innocent people. So, unexplainable artificial intelligence systems and responsibility related to artificial intelligence system development and the decisions that will be made by the artificial intelligence systems lead to lots of liability issues. These are of great concern to be resolved and many experts are working on them. After AI systems are being developed and deployed, they are being used in the public places or in businesses, we might face some consequential risks. Consequential risks can be intended or unintended. A good example of intended use of artificial intelligence systems comes from China. The Chinese government has announced that they will be having more than 700 million cameras everywhere in the country. This means that every 2 or 3 citizens there will be one camera. Although these are intended to have better social life, create a harmony and safety and security for the people, and also convenience for the people in the restaurants or in shopping places, there may be some intended use, but then the consequential risks. For example, when someone crosses the street on the red light, their pictures are shown in the poster next to the street. This creates a kind of embarrassment for the people, but also pushes pedestrians to follow the rules. But this gets more serious when there is a pilot study of social scoring through these intelligent cameras. Through these cameras, your behaviors in the street and other places are monitored. If you do a good behavior, then you receive a score, and if you do something bad or negative, your score goes down. This score lets you to be able to use certain services or not to be able to use certain services. For example, if your score is high, you can buy a ticket for a fast train, you can reserve a place in a good restaurant or in a good hotel without paying any deposits. But if you have a low score, then you will not be able to use these privileged services. This can create differentiation and inequalities among the individual members of the society. It will become really critical if you are not able to send your kid to the school of your preferences in the neighborhood if you had a low score. So, even though some artificial intelligence systems are being developed for the good use, for the use of the human beings and to improve the quality of the life, it might have some consequential risks that we may not be aware of. A concrete example of unintended consequence of artificial intelligence systems comes from the self-driving cars. In 2018, a self-driving car didn't recognize an elderly lady with a bicycle crossing the street and unfortunately killed her. Naturally, with artificial intelligence being so complicated and complex, and also being so much part of us at the personal level and also at the economical or business level, there will be risks that we don't know much about. But due to the disruption that artificial intelligence will cause in the society, there are risks that we don't know. Although those risks are mostly unknown, we do have some hints that artificial intelligence may influence the way we live and the way the businesses operate. When we think of billions of IoT devices, intelligent IoT devices being connected to each other, we are not very sure what kind of dynamics would be coming out of all these interactions of the machine-to-machine communication and also human-to-machine and machine-to-human communications. Majority of the data that are used for recommender systems are collected from around us. For example, from our social media data, or from the data that we have volunteered to give to the companies. But we know that at the moment there are certain chips implanted under the skin of the people that are being used for identifying themselves or for shopping purposes. And Neuralink announced an implanted chip as an interface for our brain. Are these ways of collecting data from within our body? As artificial intelligence systems are data hungry and require as much data as possible, it is possible that these recommender systems will be moving away from just being a recommendation to an instruction system, which will interact with our body through interfaces that we are implanting under our skin or into our brain. We know how fake news influences individuals and the society more or less, but we are not very sure about these video deepfakes, what kind of impact they will have in our future. These deepfake videos are recreating the faces, the facial expressions, and the voices of celebrities and important people such as politicians to say things that they wouldn't normally say so. How wide will all these deepfake videos be around us? What will be the impact of this primarily on the celebrities and important people, but also what kind of lead they might give to the society? So all of these unknown risks are something of a big challenge for all of the AI experts and also for the regulatory bodies. So far we've been talking about major areas and components of artificial intelligence related risks. But who needs this information about the artificial intelligence risks? First of all those businesses who are in the AI industry producing artificial intelligence systems, either software systems or AI products, need to produce safe AI that will not harm people or the environment. And every year, thousands of startup companies in artificial intelligence are joining the AI industry. All these companies in the AI industry need to know about these potential risks so that the solutions that they are offering for the use in the business or in the social life are safe and responsible. Governments and global organizations need to know about these AI risks so that they can regulate the industry and individual firms much better. Finally, home users, us, we need to know about potential risks of artificial intelligence. For example, if a parent is buying some toy for their kids, they want to know what are the potential risks. Is there any risk coming from your cleaning robot for your kid or for your pet? Is there any risks of using these voice-activated intelligence systems which is kind of monitoring some of the other systems in your house? Is there a risk to have a home cooking robot? So, just to reiterate, the purpose of studying artificial intelligence risks is to be able to create safe AI systems that will be useful in the business and also helpful in the personal and social life. As an activity, please explore artificial intelligence systems and see how they can produce some social impact. Are there any challenges to do so? Please discuss and debate.